December 7, 1941. The most famous surprise attack in American history. A Japanese carrier strike force called the Kido Butai launched 353 aircraft against the U.S. Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor, sinking or damaging 19 American warships, destroying 188 aircraft, and killing 2,403 servicemen. The attack drew the United States into World War II and changed the trajectory of the 20th century. But what if the Japanese force that morning was not facing an unprepared American fleet at anchor? What if it was facing a single F-22 Raptor, the most advanced air superiority fighter ever built? The Kido Butai, the Japanese strike force assembled north of Oahu under Vice Admiral Chuichi Nagumo. 6 aircraft carriers: Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, Hiryu, Shokaku, and Zuikaku. 2 fast battleships, 2 heavy cruisers, 1 light cruiser, 9 destroyers, 8 oilers and supply ships. Combined surface fleet of approximately 28 warships and support vessels. The aircraft are the real threat. 353 combat aircraft launched in 2 waves. Mitsubishi A-6M0 fighters, Aichi D-3A dive bombers, and Nakajima B-5N torpedo bombers. The Zero is the best carrier-based fighter in the world in 1941. The torpedo bombers carry the modified Type 91 torpedoes that will sink the Oklahoma and West Virginia. The dive bombers and high-altitude bombers will sink the Arizona with armor-piercing bombs that detonate her forward magazine. Other strike aircraft will destroy American aircraft on the ground at Hickam, Wheeler, and Iwa airfields. Nagumo commands the most experienced naval aviators on Earth. They have trained for this strike for months. They are the elite of the Imperial Japanese Navy, sailing into the most famous surprise attack of the 20th century. They have no reason to expect resistance during their approach. The F-22 Raptor, a 5th-generation stealth air superiority fighter, 19 meters long, top speed Mach 2.25, combat radius approximately 800 kilometers. 2 Pratt & Whitney F119 engines producing 35,000 pounds of thrust each, with supercruise capability that allows sustained supersonic flight without afterburner, the only aircraft in the world that can do this in combat configuration. The F-22 carries 6 AIM-120 AMRAAM medium-range air-to-air missiles in its main weapons bay, 2 AIM-9X Sidewinder short-range missiles in side bays, and 480 rounds for its 20mm cannon. The AIM-120 has an effective range of 105 kilometers. The AIM-9X has a range of 35 kilometers. The cannon engages targets within 1.5 kilometers. The radar is the AN/APG-77, a low probability of intercept, active electronically scanned array that can detect, track, and identify aircraft at ranges beyond 200 kilometers without alerting the targets that they are being scanned. Critically, the F-22's stealth profile is invisible to 1941 radar. The Japanese strike force has Type 22 surface search radar on some ships, but it cannot detect aircraft of any kind beyond a few kilometers, let alone an aircraft specifically designed to defeat modern radar 80 years more advanced. The Kido Butai will not know the F-22 exists until missiles arrive. For this scenario, the F-22 operates alone. No tankers, no AWACS support, no friendly fighters, just one stealth aircraft against the strike force that started America's war in the Pacific. First contact. The F-22 appears at 15,000 meters of altitude, 200 kilometers north of the Kido Butai. The Japanese have already launched their first strike wave, 183 aircraft heading south toward Pearl Harbor. The second wave of 170 aircraft is preparing to launch from the carriers. The F-22 detects every Japanese ship and every aircraft within range, using its passive sensors and active radar. The pilot has a complete tactical picture within 90 seconds of arrival. The Japanese have no idea anything is wrong. The first strike targets the strike wave heading south. The F-22 fires 6 AIM-120 missiles, each targeting a different Japanese aircraft. The pilot prioritizes the strike leaders, the commanders flying the lead bombers, the squadron leaders coordinating the attack, the navigators carrying the timing for the synchronized strike. The AMRAAMs cover the 100-kilometer gap in under 3 minutes. 6 aircraft explode without warning, and the 6 the F-22 chose are the brain of the entire operation. Japanese pilots have no concept of what is happening. There is no enemy aircraft visible. There is no smoke trail tracing back to a launching platform. There is no radar warning because they have no radar warning systems. Aircraft are simply detonating mid-flight, and the ones detonating are leading the formation. The first wave loses cohesion. Without their lead navigators, surviving pilots have only a general heading toward Oahu. Without their strike commanders, the precise timing required for coordinated torpedo runs and synchronized dive bombing falls apart. Most continue toward Pearl Harbor on instinct, knowing the general target but not the precise plan. The strike will still happen, but as a fragmented attack instead of the perfectly coordinated strike of actual history. The strike on the carriers. The F-22 closes to 50 kilometers, still invisible to every Japanese sensor. The pilot now faces the constraints every fighter pilot faces in real combat. He has 8 missiles total, of which 6 are already fired. His cannon carries 480 rounds. At the M61's rate of fire, approximately 5 seconds of total cannon time. His fuel is half burned. There is no friendly airfield. There is no tanker. The clock is now his real enemy. He makes the decision a real combat pilot would make. 2 fast strafing passes over Akagi and 1 over Kaga, expending his cannon in controlled bursts. Each pass destroys 15 to 20 aircraft fueled and armed on the flight decks, plus deck crew casualties and fires from ruptured fuel lines. The wooden flight deck planking burns in places. The carriers themselves take only superficial damage. A 20mm cannon cannot penetrate armored carrier hulls. The Japanese fighter cover that survived the AMRAAM strike attempts to intercept. The F-22 fires both AIM-9X sidewinders, destroying 2 Zeros at long range. The rest cannot climb to his altitude. The F-22 climbs to 18,000 meters where no 1941 aircraft can follow. His ammunition is now 0. His fuel is critical. He has no airfield. The pilot does the only thing he can do. He turns south toward Oahu at maximum efficient cruise, hoping American defenders can identify him as friendly before they shoot him down. Some pilots in this scenario make it, some do not. The aircraft is irrecoverable either way. The F-22 destroyed roughly 50 to 70 Japanese aircraft, 6 from AMRAAMs, 2 from Sidewinders, and 40 to 60 on the carrier decks from strafing. That is a significant blow, but not a knockout. The 6 carriers remain afloat. Roughly 280 of the original 353 aircraft are still operational. The first strike wave, fragmented but largely intact, continues toward Pearl Harbor. What changes is coordination. Without their lead commanders and synchronized timing, the surviving aircraft attack Pearl Harbor in a confused, sequential pattern instead of a simultaneous strike. Torpedo runs are uncoordinated. Dive bombers attack without correct fighter cover timing. American defenders, alerted earlier by the chaotic approach, get more aircraft airborne than they did historically. Pearl Harbor still happens. Battleships are still hit. American sailors still die. But the casualty count is reduced, perhaps 1,200 to 1,500 dead instead of 2,403. Several battleships are damaged or sunk, but the catastrophic destruction of Battleship Row is avoided. The Arizona's forward magazine is hit, but with reduced effect. Aircraft at Hickam and Wheeler take losses, but more survive. The technology gap between 1941 and the F-22 is real. It is also bound by the same physics every fighter pilot faces: fuel, ammunition, and the simple fact that one aircraft, no matter how advanced, is still one aircraft.